Hello, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're examining a pivotal moment in the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Recent developments in Crimea indicate that Ukrainian forces have achieved a significant victory, challenging what was long considered a stronghold of Russian military power. This operation not only disrupts logistics, but also sends a strategic and symbolic message that the tide of the conflict is far from settled. Crimea has been a heavily fortified region since its annexation by Russia in 2014. The peninsula has been defended with a dense network of military installations, surveillance systems, and logistical hubs. Russian forces considered the area largely secure, relying on the perception that its geographical advantages and fortifications made it impervious to sustained Ukrainian operations. This assumption has now been challenged. The Ukrainian offensive focused on striking critical infrastructure and supply lines that support Russian operations in the region. By targeting key depots, command centers, and transport routes, Ukrainian forces were able to weaken the logistical backbone of the Russian military in Crimea. Precision strikes allowed them to minimize exposure while maximizing strategic effect, demonstrating the evolution of Ukraine's operational capabilities. Reports suggest that the victory involved a combination of ground operations, artillery strikes, and drone deployments. Drones played a particularly important role, providing real-time reconnaissance, marking targets, and even conducting direct strikes on high-value positions. This integration of technology and tactics allowed Ukrainian forces to execute a coordinated campaign with impressive efficiency. The psychological impact of this victory cannot be overstated. Russian troops stationed in Crimea have long operated under the assumption of safety, relying on the peninsula's fortifications and the perceived superiority of their forces. Ukraine's success challenges that perception, introducing uncertainty and forcing a re-evaluation of defensive measures. Morale, both for Russian troops and Ukrainian forces, is significantly affected by these developments. Strategically, the operation disrupts supply chains that are vital for sustaining Russian positions in southern Ukraine and along the Black Sea coast. Fuel, ammunition, and reinforcements that once moved freely now face delays and vulnerability. Engineers and logistics units must prioritize repairing damage and restoring operational flow, diverting resources from other critical fronts. The disruption, even if temporary, has cascading effects on operational planning. The Ukrainian approach exemplifies modern warfare's reliance on intelligence and precision. Prior reconnaissance, satellite imagery, and intercepted communications allowed planners to identify vulnerabilities and strike effectively. By understanding enemy patterns, fortifications, and weak points, Ukrainian forces could target resources where they would have maximum impact, demonstrating an evolution in both strategy and execution. One of the key elements in this success was the timing of the offensive. Ukrainian forces struck when Russian defenses were most vulnerable, exploiting gaps in surveillance and response coordination. Timing, in combination with technological advantage, allowed a relatively small force to achieve disproportionate effects against a heavily fortified adversary. This highlights the importance of operational intelligence and careful planning. The operation also underscores the significance of mobility and flexibility in modern conflict. Ukrainian units demonstrated the ability to rapidly reposition, strike, and withdraw, minimizing exposure to counterattack while maintaining pressure on critical Russian positions. Such tactics emphasize adaptability, a key element in asymmetric warfare, where the opponent may have superior numbers or heavier fortifications. From a broader perspective, the victory in Crimea challenges conventional assumptions about static defense. Fortified positions, when static and predictable, can become vulnerable to innovative and dynamic attacks. Ukraine's success serves as a reminder that even strongholds can be contested effectively when operational intelligence, technology, and strategy converge. The success also has symbolic implications. Crimea has long been portrayed as an unassailable bastion of Russian control. Ukrainian forces striking effectively within this territory undermines that narrative, signaling to both domestic and international audiences that control is contested and that vulnerabilities exist even in heavily defended areas. Symbolism, in modern warfare, can have as much impact as physical outcomes. Analysts note that the operation required meticulous coordination between multiple branches of the military. Air, artillery, and naval units provided supporting roles, ensuring that strikes were synchronized and that Russian forces were kept off balance. This level of integration reflects a matured operational capability, highlighting the evolution of Ukrainian military doctrine over the course of the conflict. The Ukrainian victory also forced Russian command to respond reactively. Defensive measures were increased, patrols intensified, and repair crews dispatched to restore damaged infrastructure. While these responses aim to reassert control, they also reveal the strain placed on Russian resources and planning. Reactive measures, by definition, are less efficient than proactive strategy, placing Russian forces at a disadvantage. Another important factor is the role of technology in enabling precise strikes. Modern drones, electronic warfare systems, and real-time communication networks allowed Ukrainian forces to conduct coordinated attacks without the need for large-scale troop movements. This minimizes risk to personnel while maximizing strategic impact, illustrating how modern conflict increasingly relies on technological integration. The impact of this operation extends beyond immediate tactical gains. Disrupting Russian logistics in Crimea affects not only local deployments, but also broader operations across southern Ukraine. Supplies delayed or destroyed in Crimea reverberate through the operational chain, potentially affecting frontline readiness and the timing of future offensives. Even minor delays can have outsized strategic consequences in a high-intensity conflict. Morale and perception play crucial roles in modern warfare. Ukraine's success sends a message of resilience, capability, and initiative. For Russian forces, it introduces doubt and uncertainty, challenging assumptions of invulnerability. These psychological effects can influence decision-making at multiple levels, shaping the broader conduct of the conflict and potentially affecting the willingness of troops to engage aggressively. The operation's success also highlights the effectiveness of integrated command and control systems. Ukrainian forces were able to rapidly share intelligence, coordinate strikes, and adjust plans in real time. This level of responsiveness allows smaller forces to achieve strategic effects that might otherwise require significantly larger deployments, demonstrating a shift in the balance of operational power. Beyond the immediate battlefield, this victory influences international perceptions. Allies of Ukraine view the operation as evidence of strategic competence and resilience, bolstering political and material support. Conversely, it signals to adversaries that Ukrainian forces are capable of challenging what were previously considered secure positions, potentially influencing negotiations, deterrence calculations, and broader geopolitical strategy. The victory in Crimea also emphasizes the importance of logistics in contemporary conflict. Fortified positions are only as strong as the supply lines that sustain them. By striking at key nodes, depots, bridges, and transport routes, Ukrainian forces created operational vulnerabilities that cannot be ignored. Modern military theory increasingly recognizes that disrupting infrastructure can achieve strategic objectives without necessarily engaging in large-scale battles. The precision and efficiency of the operation reflect a deep understanding of Russian military doctrine and operational behavior. Ukrainian planners anticipated likely responses, exploited predictable patterns, and adjusted tactics to minimize exposure while maximizing effect. This level of operational sophistication is indicative of a military that has learned and adapted over years of sustained conflict. Technological integration played a key role in ensuring success. Drones, reconnaissance aircraft, and satellite intelligence provided situational awareness, while precision-guided munitions allowed targeted destruction. Electronic warfare measures may have disrupted Russian communications, further complicating response efforts. The operation demonstrates the synergy between human decision-making and advanced technology in modern combat. Strategically, the Ukrainian victory has implications for the broader regional balance. Control of key nodes in Crimea affects access to the Black Sea, regional supply chains, and potential staging areas for future operations. By demonstrating the ability to strike effectively in what was considered a secure territory, Ukraine alters the strategic calculus for Russian military planners. The psychological and symbolic impact cannot be overstated. Crimea has long been portrayed as a cornerstone of Russian territorial control and military strength. Ukrainian success within this region challenges that narrative, reinforcing the message that no position is beyond reach. This perception has ripple effects, influencing morale, public opinion, and the international narrative surrounding the conflict. The operation also underscores the evolving nature of modern warfare. Smaller, technologically enabled forces can achieve strategic effects disproportionate to their size through intelligence, precision, and innovation. Ukraine's ability to combine these elements into a coherent operational campaign reflects a broader trend in which adaptability and information dominance often outweigh sheer numerical superiority. Russian responses to the victory included emergency repairs, increased defensive patrols, and heightened surveillance. While these measures aim to restore control, they also reveal the strain placed on Russian command structures and resources. Reactive strategies are inherently limited, illustrating the advantage gained by forces that act proactively and with precise intelligence. The success in Crimea highlights lessons for both sides. For Ukraine, it reinforces the value of intelligence-led operations, precision strikes, and integrated command. For Russia, it underscores vulnerabilities in logistics, command response, and the perception of control. These lessons will likely influence subsequent operations and strategic planning on both sides. International observers have emphasized the broader implications of the Ukrainian victory. The operation demonstrates that critical infrastructure can be contested effectively, even in regions previously considered secure. It also highlights the importance of adaptability, coordination, and the integration of technology in achieving operational success, providing a case study for modern military planning worldwide. The Ukrainian victory in Crimea also illustrates the importance of timing, coordination, and initiative. By acting decisively when vulnerabilities were most exposed, Ukrainian forces maximized impact while minimizing risk. This approach reflects a mature understanding of operational art, blending tactical precision with strategic foresight to achieve disproportionate effects. Operationally, the attack disrupted Russian troop movements, supply chains, and command structures. These disruptions forced adjustments, reallocation of resources, and emergency repairs, creating opportunities for further Ukrainian operations. Even temporary advantages can cascade into broader operational gains, affecting future campaigns and shaping the conflict's trajectory. The integration of modern technologies such as drones, real-time intelligence networks, and precision-guided munitions allowed Ukrainian forces to achieve effects that would have required larger formations in conventional warfare. This demonstrates the shift toward information-centric precision, enabled operations in modern military doctrine. From a psychological standpoint, the victory reinforces Ukrainian confidence while introducing doubt among Russian forces. Morale, cohesion, and the perception of security are critical factors in sustaining prolonged military operations. By challenging Russian assumptions of invulnerability, Ukraine gains not only tangible advantages, but also intangible effects that influence decision-making and operational behavior. The success in Crimea also affects the regional strategic environment. By demonstrating the ability to strike in contested territory, Ukraine signals to allies and adversaries alike that it possesses both capability and initiative. This has implications for international support, deterrence, and negotiations, influencing the broader geopolitical context beyond the immediate battlefield. In conclusion, Ukraine's major victory in Crimea represents a combination of tactical skill, operational intelligence, and strategic insight. By striking at critical infrastructure, exploiting vulnerabilities, and integrating technology with innovative tactics, Ukrainian forces have challenged a previously secure stronghold. The victory carries operational, psychological, and symbolic significance, altering the strategic landscape and demonstrating the evolving nature of modern warfare. This operation reinforces the importance of intelligence, precision, timing, and adaptability in contemporary conflict. It highlights how even heavily defended positions can be contested effectively when planners understand vulnerabilities and exploit them efficiently. Ukraine's success serves as a reminder that initiative, innovation, and coordination can produce strategic outcomes disproportionate to force size. As both sides continue to adapt and respond, the lessons from Crimea will influence future planning, operations, and strategy. Ukrainian forces have demonstrated the capacity to project power, challenge assumptions, and achieve tangible effects in contested areas. The victory underscores the critical role of intelligence-led operations, precision strikes, and integrated planning in modern military doctrine. Ultimately, the operation in Crimea exemplifies how modern warfare increasingly favors adaptability, technological integration, and strategic foresight. Ukraine's success is a clear indicator that even in the face of a larger, fortified adversary, careful planning, precision, and initiative can produce decisive effects. It provides a compelling example of how modern conflicts are fought,